Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Valvoline and Sparesbox. Don't forget Benny 5 on checkout. This week, we are still continuing with the Cresta. We do have a ton of parts that have come either back from repair or from the US. We've got our diff center, which we've had the ratio change from 325 to 35. Frank at Gearbox Express knocked that out for us. Shout out to Frank because he's a legend and he does our stuff very quickly. We've also got a set of rear ladder bars. One of these is bent. I can't remember if we actually discussed it on camera or not, but we're going to pull both of them out today. Basically have a look at the damage. It's not bad, but it's at the point where any fracture or any weak point in that bar is going to be a failure point. So definitely don't want that to be the case going down the track. We're going to put both of the pair in the car today, and I'll keep the straight one as a spare going forward. I think that, we'll discuss why I think it's happened further, but I think it's because we've preloaded one bar more than the other. Talking to a few chassis guys, that's old technology or old style of doing it now. So you actually want to stagger the length of the arm to get rear steer rather than try and preload it when it's twisting to go left or right. So we're going to actually just set the car up neutral today, and then depending on what it actually needs going forward at testing or whatever, we'll actually put some rear steer in the car. So rear steer is exactly what it sounds. The diff is no longer square in the car, and we're talking literally 1 or 2 millimeters here, not 5 centimeters. So yeah, just you want to make the car go straight, and the rear steer seems to be the hot sauce these days. I've also got a rear disc. We're only going to put one in it because they're $1 million and the rear discs don't really do any work. I've got a set of rear pads, shock travel sensor from Haltech. We've got a longer one. We did have one previously in the car and it wasn't quite long enough. We topped the sensor out and broke it. We've got a new diff trigger collar. We've got an 8-pole collar because the one that was for that Moser center is a 2-pole one, and that's, again, old technology. So we've gone back to the 8-pole because the other diff we had an 8-pole on it, but the yoke diameter is actually slightly different, so we can't just directly swap those collars over. Also got a cherry sensor because the cherry sensor that's on it now has copped a whack. So yeah, going to be lots of little jobs today, but should be fun for everyone. A bit of learning, a bit of talking, and a bit of crestering. So let's get into it. We'll look at the dead diff too, because as it turns out, it hasn't survived. So nothing is really recoverable from that diff apart from the spool and a couple of bolts and the pinion carrier. So a bit of a bummer with that because that's basically all in the bin now. So it's like a $2,500 exercise to replace that, but that's racing, I guess. It is what it is. You got to pay to play. So chuck this thing in the air and we'll start pulling the rear end apart again so we can put it all back together, because I had to put it together so we could get off the hoist.
I think you mispronounced cherry sensor.
What is it? Cherry sensor?
No, it's with a T at the front, remember?
Oh, Terry sensor?
Yeah.
Cool. I don't remember how that started.
Either.
I would have named it Terry, not Cherry. I actually do need this. I'm not just being a dick. I am a dick, but...
You're not acting like it currently.
Not right now.
Did you end up bolting anything down, like the toolbox? Or?
Yeah, it's all bolted down.
Oh, sweet.
I actually ordered knobs. Like, remember you can get like those adjustable... Oh, the tripod knobs.
Oh, you did.
I found some online.
So, yeah, so you can tighten them by hand and...
Yeah, without having to use an Allen key every time.
Yeah, nice. Are they actually tripod knobs?
Nah, but bigger because they're 8mm instead of 5mm or 6mm. It was actually a mission to bolt it down because the way the toolbox is designed, it's like the base of the toolbox is not level with the floor. So it was actually like 25mm higher.
Yeah.
So I had to make all these crush tubes, and that was like half a day in itself. So imagine how boring that episode would have been.
Yeah, because that's like a thin bit of sheet metal that sits elevated, not flush with the...
Yeah, it's not flush, so I had
board,
to... I ended up
Makes
making sleeves to go from there to there, and I actually welded them to the bottom of the toolbox. They're child seat anchor sleeves.
Oh yeah, nice.
And then bolted through. And you never believe it. Remember that crossbar that we put in? I just randomly drilled through with the toolbox and it literally went through the middle. Like I didn't measure it. Remember we marked the floor where we wanted the toolbox to be?
Yeah.
It literally went straight through that tube, man, like middled it.
Amazing.
I couldn't believe it.
That's one of those things you just don't question and just act like you're meant to do it, and that's that.
Well, the good thing is now that means that the screws aren't actually supporting the load of the toolbox. The bolts and the frame are.
Yeah,
because it's now bolted directly to that frame.
Yeah, perfect.
You can come closer, you know. Now I need to flush the diff housing because there's going to be all sorts of yummies in there, no doubt. Sleevey tool.
Is that your favourite custom tool?
No, it works well though.
Maybe that should be another video, is 10 custom tools you've created. Some wouldn't be textbook enough.
I don't know if I've got 10.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some one-offs though. The crazy thing is there's one of them that I made like 15 years ago for one specific job. And I used it again for that very specific job not that long ago. Oh, that's bad.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's good.
Oh, phew.
It's all right, my brain was just braining.
Brains will do that.
Brains do that too much.
Did you have any more thoughts about the wheel bearings if they need replacing?
No, that'll be fine.
Cool.
Hopefully. Apparently what we're experiencing is actually normal. That's why you see cars with no brakes on them and they've just slapped the axles in.
All the things are on the floor.
Oh, I knew this was coming. Normally one stays in the brakes and it's a fun time. I do love me some brake cleaner. Let's lose another torch today.
Now I'm getting you. So you looked into it. Fucking surprise!
Oh, here we go.
I should just get the gasket buffer out, but I don't really want to just throw all the shit into the diff.
It is ASMR channel.
Yeah, not quite.
Doesn't include that noise.
John loves it.
Second only to two forks rubbing together.
What?
Oh. Ooh, will they get intertwined?
Yeah.
No.
I used to do
He's fully got PTSD now.
I had to do a brisket the other day and I'm shredding the brisket with these two forks. I'm like, I hate this. I will pay someone $1 billion to do this job.
Just need to get bear claws, bro.
Oh, yeah. It's inside the diff. It's in the wick.
Oh, it's cutty. Oh, it's soupy.
It's greasy now too.
It's soupy cutty.
Best.
See, that's satisfying. Why couldn't you be doing this the whole time?
You should do it. Tell me how satisfying it is when you do it. Anyone from North America probably already knows what this is. It's designed to buff studs and hub faces, but I'm going to use it to clean over the diff studs. I'm actually going to wipe the diff out too, because there's just so much gunk and crap in there.
See, that's also satisfying, the Scotch Brite part. This video could be so long already, just from doing the gasket on the diff.
Yeah, you don't need to show the poor people 10 hours of gasket scraping.
Yeah.
We can just have a highlight reel. Oh, yuck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's why you need to clean your diff out properly.
Yeah, because any of those bits could cause heaps more damage,
we'd
right?
be back to where we were.
Yeah, wow.
Problem is too, though, not all of it's metallic. Like there'll be non-ferrous, like aluminium and
I see.
other junk in there too. Show you a little trick.
Oh, here we go.
Put wheel bearing grease on paper gaskets because then it separates and it doesn't actually damage the gasket. Can't remember where I saw this, but it seems to work really well. I think it might have been like a motorbike YouTube channel.
Should I be concerned? Are you watching motorbikes?
No, actually, you know what? It was like one of those like Facebook feedy type of, we're going to rehash our video like a knockdown of an episode.
Yep.
And it was like, I think it was like an engine build, like a 2-stroke engine building thing. I think it was like a GoPed down the rabbit hole type of vibe. Hopefully it works. Because typically I put grey sealant on these, but then it is an actual mission to pull it apart. If I can keep this gasket serviceable and reusable, that's a winner. Hopefully it's not later Ben going, this was a bad idea.
Yeah, okay.
Probably should have a spare 9-inch gasket in the trailer anyway though, to be honest. And you could use that for spare gasket paper if you wanted to, but 2024, me, is not hoarding shit. I need less stuff in my life. I hope it fits. There we go.
Phew.
Third time's a charm. All of its greasy goodness. Oh, the new hotness. The new old hotness.
So this is the old one.
So this is the spare diff that we did have in the car at one point. We used it for a little while, but the 325 didn't really work for us. We had a miss that I actually thought was rev limiter. So we changed the diff ratio to try and get longer legs, but as it turns out, we didn't really need it. So we went back to a 3.5. And yeah, the 3.5's always been pretty good for us. It's a good mix between street and track. So yeah, I had, like I said before, I had Frank change this ratio out to a 3.5. It's got motive gears in it now, so they should last forever. Frank swears by them, so yeah, if it breaks, I'm coming for you, Frank. No, not really, because he'd probably bash me. He's a bit of a unit.
Frank's a good name, I reckon.
Frank's a good guy.
Yeah, right.
Frank's a good dude. I like Frank.
See, it's funny, like there's that saying, you know, like, to be frank.
And don't trust a James. I mean, what?
Or a Rob.
Nah, Rob's not a bad name either.
No,
Rob's a
but-
legend.
But robbers. Why are they named robbers? Where's that derived from?
Whose name is Robber?
Like robber as in burglar.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but whose name is Robber?
Robber? No, as in, but like it's, you know.
Good chat.
What are you trying to do?
Confuse you again. Well, at least this is light. Oh, my hand.
Do you actually need... No. You good?
Oh, I mean, we're getting there now.
Yeah. All right.
10 seconds ago, hand would have been great.
Yeah. I didn't think of it 10 seconds ago.
Dick. Just make sure it doesn't fall out, yeah?
Okay, well, shit, I've only got one
You're
hand.
not going to catch it with that. Call me lightning. Do you understand that reference?
No, I don't at all.
Because I don't strike the same place twice.
Ah, nice. I was thinking something to do with grease. Like grease lightning.
That's a stretch.
I'm surprised this hammer didn't make it to the tool chat. I remember you saying about the shape of it can be used in
It's good for pulling apart wheels.
multiple applications.
3-piece wheels, it's good for banging the face out.
Oh,
Maybe-
right, yeah, the
maybe
face
we'll
of
have-
wheels.
Yeah, the face of wheels, not your
Yeah,
face.
right. That's good to know.
The one that came off the car's 46 mil, and this one's 47.6. So we get a free Allen key. We'll get it in position so that it's going to work, and then we'll just tie that up for now, I think. But we'll at least get it in there today.
Oh, okay, so later is not this episode, but...
No, we'll get Matt or Dave things.
Okay. Is that because you don't trust in your own ability?
No, it's because I don't have the right wire.
Okay.
Because the last time I did it, Dave wasn't happy with the wire, and I've still only got that wire, so I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to.
see.
It was too fine.
Yep.
Because I was trying to buy like 8 different colours, and then the kit that I found had 8 different colours, but watch your head, it's quite fine.
Yeah, one day I'm just
And
waiting
trying
for
to-
something to be on the ground and
Then
I'll
you
just
just belt yourself.
trip right over it, walking backwards.
I'll definitely laugh.
As long as I get up and I'm fine, that's fine. But then I guess if I didn't get up, then I still wouldn't probably have known that you laughed, assuming that I hit the back of my head and was out of it.
Giant out.
Have you ever done that where you've like laughed at something, like someone got hurt and then they didn't get up and you're like, oh crap, now I feel bad?
No, it's still funny.
They did some science behind what the world's funniest joke would be.
Oh yeah?
Do you want to hear it, what they come up with?
Tell me.
After all this research.
Tell me. It's going to be garbage, isn't it?
Here we go.
Yeah.
2 hunters walk into the bush. One of them collapses. The other one gets on to the phone to emergency services
Yeah.
and says, help, I think my friend is dead. They said, don't panic, sir, we'll help you. First, let's just make sure that he's dead. And there's a moment's silence, a gunshot, and then he gets back on the phone and says, now what? What do you think?
Sounds very American.
I think the very close second or runner-up was this.
That's supposed to be the funniest joke in the world.
Apparently so.
Wow.
But I think a close second was there's 2 fish in a tank.
Yep.
One of them turns to the other and says, do you know how to drive this?
I just feel like that's more clever. The tank one is more clever.
So
Cleverer?
the science behind those jokes is basically,
I'm confused why you'd use science in a joke anyway.
yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, it's just science people getting their hands on.
Anyway, tell me your mathematical equation to work out the funniest joke.
Nobody's getting humiliated, shamed, etc. Like, it's not incredibly funny, but
They're not offensive. You
just-
could tell it anywhere and no one's really going to get offended by
yeah,
it.
exactly, yeah.
Like it's a good wholesome joke that no one's getting berated in.
Correct.
When you're doing up uni bolts, make sure that you get the same amount of thread stick out on each side, because otherwise it can actually put different amounts of load on both on the uni and the cap. It's also not tight yet. Now I get the long one. You can over tighten these too, so don't.
Might not help, but I'm going to show how tight you're going to tighten it.
I'm not going to town, I'm just kind of nipping it up. You just want it to be firm but not tight. Well, firm and tight, but not over tight. This is a really great chat.
Sounds like there's a real science behind that too.
As dumb as it sounds, after you work on cars forever, you just get a feel for tension.
Yep.
You can go, oh yeah, that's pretty close.
And I know from your experience, there's some things that if you do talk to spec, you're thinking that it didn't actually work.
Like Barra flex plate bolts, for instance.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
of.
I've never had good results talking them to spec, but the problem is the bolts that we use are not actually listed for the application they're being used in, so there's no guarantee that that torque spec is actually correct for the application, if that makes sense. So like part of it is to do with the material of the bolt, but part of it is to do with the application. But you can stretch bolts too, like, and then they just become looser anyway. So there is definitely a fine line between too loose and too tight. And I have had ARP bolts pull the head off, which means they've been over tightened, but that's also reusing them 3 or 4 times. So sometimes they probably should be just thrown out. There's like a comedy skit about that there's no B battery, like there's A's and C's.
Oh,
It's like, why is there no B battery? It's like, because it's like it's a joke about like stuttering, but not. The joke isn't targeting
battery.
people that stutter, but it's like B battery, like the battery.
Yeah.
Like a B battery.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, that wouldn't even be in the running for the world's funniest joke.
No, because it'd be targeting people that stutter.
Yeah. See. I don't reckon I'm ever going to be able to unthink that every time. Double A.
Have I just ruined batteries for you forever?
Yeah, pretty much. Double A, triple A. Yeah, what is with that system? I never questioned it.
I don't know.
Why are doubles and triples of letters a size?
I'm going to sound like I'm hating on Americans, but I feel like it's an American thing. Like, why wouldn't you just have it by measurement or capacity?
Of course it would be.
It's like, we'll use anything but a metric system to measure something. Just going to align the collar.
When you say align the collar, are you just tightening them evenly?
No, aligning it is in getting it in there, like the center of the sensor.
Yep, copy.
But yes, also tightening them evenly. See, at the moment the gap's quite large on one side.
I'm not sure if the camera can see it.
Oh well.
Oh no.
And that's why you move the oil tray when you're done, friends. I'm here to share.
Did you almost drop that in the pan again?
No, the pan's gone, bro.
You learnt. Nice.
Did I almost drop it in the pan again? Here, I'll just lob it over there. You're in the hood, aren't you? I'm not anymore.
Nah, not anymore.
You've left.
Yeah.
You've been kicked out of the fraternity.
Which is a shame because autumn's such a nice time of year to look at those trees.
You are a cooker sometimes, bro. You can look at my nice autumn trees down here.
Well, yeah, I do every time. I'm like, hooray, today I'll see the update on how the trees are going. My bonsai people will get me.
I was literally about to say Captain Bonsai, and then you just delivered it on a platter.
If there are any of the bonsai listeners out there. Does anybody who likes cars likes bonsai? Apart from myself?
Probably. Surely there'd have to be a crossover.
I feel like they're just almost as cool as each other.
I like bonsais and cars.
You can appreciate them, right?
Like it's just wild, the hours that go into them.
And the lifetimes.
Sorry?
And the lifetimes that go into them.
Yeah. Yeah, literally generational bonsais.
Yeah. No pressure for the one that gets it at the 4th generation or even
Yeah.
2nd.
Yeah, I feel like 2nd generation would be the worst pressure. I feel like 3rd would be like, oh, I'll give it a bash, and the 4th like, it's 400 years old. That's a very uncultured way to look at it too, though. Like, there'd be like people literally like, this is my life now. I've got my great-great-great-grandfather's bonsai.
Yeah. What a burden though. Like if you didn't actually like bonsais
If you weren't down for bonsais, like, why did you do this to me, Papa? Oh, I do love a good tri-wire strip.
Oh, you did that all at once?
Yeah, bro.
Amazing.
Efficiency plus.
And they're all probably like the perfect same length.
They are. That's why I did them all at the same time.
Nice.
But there's a lot of different sizes as it turns out. And the one I need is the smallest one. which even more strangely, the size, the higher the size number, the smaller the gauge. So the size of the Deutsch crimp must be relevant to like Y gauge.
Right.
This has just gone on a full tangent now.
Oh yeah.
Benny's Y gauge chats.
Is this a handy tip? Basically, you can never have enough crimp.
Enough tools.
Enough
yeah, just
tools,
buy as many
yeah.
tools as you can afford.
Yeah.
Hey, right size crimp. And it's even the right gender. Rock lobster?
Sounds like it would taste good.
Oh, how good's rock lobster?
I don't really know, to be honest.
Oh, you're not a seafoodologist.
Well, yeah, lobsters on the list.
See, I'm like, I dabble
Yeah.
and I quite like a lobster.
Sounds funner than deconstructing a crab.
Yeah, I'm not a crab guy. I don't like the flavour of crab. It's a bit too sweet.
Oh, okay.
Whereas I think lobster's a bit more subtle. Depends on the type of crab too.
Throwback to soft shell crabs.
Oh, yes. I do like a soft shell crab, but I had soft shell crab recently and I didn't gut it. And
What do you mean
just,
you didn't gut it?
like they didn't clean it. It was just literally the whole crab deep fried.
Oh,
Like
so
normally they clean the gills and stuff out before they cook them.
Right.
And this one they didn't, and it was just a bit
So you took a mouthful of just the whole thing.
crab guts.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing's just in tempura batter, and you're supposed to mung it down.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit too on the edge for me.
Yeah, right.
You know what I love? When you message someone, or when someone messages you on Marketplace
Yep.
about something, and then you
Yep.
go to the effort of taking all the photos, and then they just disappear into the horizon.
Yeah, just gone.
That's my favourite.
That's a handy photo that you've got there on your phone.
You know what's also handy? My non-sponsored quad lock case, which just magnets onto the hoist.
Oh, dang.
Like, how good is
Found
that?
the wheel.
Oh, you did it. You got. Oh, yes, look at that. Like, how easy is that? You don't even need to hold it. Just slam the pins in and off you go. Matty, you'd be proud of me for doing this. It's only taken an hour to put one connector on. I don't like wiring because it is just very slow for me. Like, I mean, there's definitely quicker ways to do it, but I just have this. This is my way. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Fair enough.
I'm going to check it again.
I think.
Now that I've put the cheese in. Hey, blue, black, brown. Grey, black, grey. Colourblind joke. You can use that.
Yeah,
that's
like,
fair game.
Yeah, I'm like just not sure
that's
anymore.
funny enough. Like, I feel like we can't be too sensitive.
Yeah.
The world needs to laugh.
Yeah.
I've got a conspiracy that you like Subway. Like,
Oh, I do like Subway.
see, I just nothing it.
Yeah, like, but you know why I like
I've been spoiled by good Subway in America.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like it because it doesn't make me feel sick. Not that it tastes good.
Heaven forbid a lunch would make you not feel sick and taste good. That's too much to ask of fast food.
I mean, I don't expect that. Put it that way.
I'm just going to put the diff sensor in because we're not using the shock sensor right now.
Yep. Diff sensor, what's that actually? What information is that?
That's vehicle speed. So
Oh,
speedo
yeah.
and drive shaft speed.
Yeah, of course. Most of our viewers would have already been onto that. I'm just asking pointless questions at this point.
I feel like that's a fair question. Oh yeah. So I'm just going to back all these off to the nylox before we go taking the arms out. Because I'll put some twisty stands under the diff
Of course,
and then we
'cause
can pull the arms out.
Yep.
But we're probably actually going to need all three because we're going to need one on each side.
Yep.
And then one at the front because the diff's actually going to want to twist. Now the internet has told me that I need to rebuild the gearbox, but I have spoken to a few people who don't think that's probably the case, but we're just going to run it up on the hoist and maybe take it for a bit of a drive and just see what the deal is.
What signs are you looking for that would indicate one way or the other?
If it drives or not.
I see.
Oh, my shoulder. Feel the burn.
Do you feel the burn more now that the weather's getting colder?
No,
Of course you would. You're in
not
bloody
cold, bro.
t-shirt and shorts.
it's not cold. Show the people what you look like.
Bro, okay. So there's this. and a jumper. But underneath
Yeah,
this,
what's under it?
there's thermals. Thermals
Not that I'm
from,
trying to get you to undress on camera, but
thermals from April onwards.
you're off your head, mate.
And you're still in a t-shirt and shorts.
Probably shows how much weight difference we have. My insulation's built in.
Yeah, but I wonder how much is like you've literally just grown up in this colder environment.
Acclimatized to my environment, you reckon?
Oh yeah, I reckon. Plus you got the beard. That thing looks warm.
Pull out all the bolts. After we put the twisty stand up, I really don't want to catch a diff to the face today.
Maybe tomorrow.
It's more of a Wednesday thing.
Today being Tuesday.
Well, I mean, if you said tomorrow and I said it's Wednesday, I think people could probably assume
Put 2 and 2 together.
that today is Tuesday.
True.
I feel like our viewers are smart enough to work that out.
True. I was just sort of thinking out loud, processing it for myself, you know.
Sure.
I wasn't putting any doubt in the viewers' intellectual ability.
Wish I had 3 of the red ones, but the red ones are expensive. I mean, the blue ones are expensive, but the red ones are expensiver. So yes, I will be interested to see just how bent this one is compared to the other ones. Nice. Well, I mean, you can visually see that it's bent, so that's probably a good sign. You probably actually won't be able to see that on camera, but there's enough deflection there that it's like seeing. This is actually a really good sign. It's probably worth talking about.
Yep.
Seeing paint crack is definitely showing signs of fatigue. Like, see how that paint's compressed?
Yep.
Oh wow, it's actually worse than I thought. It has actually cracked pretty bad.
What's cracked? The actual weld to the...
Well, it's torn at the weld, so it's fatigued there.
Being a clear sign of bending
Yeah.
or flex.
Nice flex, bro. You kids and your friggin' catchy words. You're also trendy.
Bussin', on guard, on guard. Have you heard that one?
What?
Yeah. It's just part of my youthful language that I speak.
Yeah. One more time in English, please.
I think it means like... actually, you know what? I don't even know. Bussin', on guard. I think it's like cool.
I feel like saying cool is easier.
Yeah, it's much easier. Damn it, maybe I'm not as hip
You trendy kids.
and with it as
You're
I
not
thought.
even the trendy kid anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Ah, yes.
Do you reckon there's an age at which that just naturally happens? You know, you start liking
Being
bonsais and sitting down more.
Yeah, how good's sitting down? I want to say that even this one is like marginally bent. I think the driver's side one is bent more because I've put preload in it. But I'm also thinking maybe I preloaded it after it was bent and I was trying to chase geometry.
I see.
Not actually realising that it was bent.
I see.
Because it was definitely not visually bent that bad. But clearly it was bent at some point.
Would that be the reason that I noticed that
went right?
sometimes is it the driver or the passenger side lifts at the
No,
front more?
that's just typical of any drag car. Is it's going to lift one side more.
Righto.
But the problem is it's going to transfer more force one way, being a ladder bar car.
Understood. For the most part.
Yeah, I'm also not right across it. There's 4 of them.
Oh, that's like those finger traps.
Sure. And these ones are for finger traps that have already fallen off, evidently. They didn't like it. Didn't like coming all the way over the water.
Have you ever done that?
No.
Put one finger in this end,
I
one
said
finger in that end.
nah. Rage. So if I had to hazard a guess, I'm going to say the left-handed thread ones go in the back of those turn knuckle looking things. What I'm going to do here is screw all these rod ends in, and then I'm going to measure the amount of thread stick out.
From the old ladder bar. And then
Yeah, I'll measure. So what I'm going to do is measure it, but then I'll also assemble it and stick it on top and put bolts through, if that makes sense.
To make sure it's like spot on.
Well, the one problem is if the tooling's changed or if these are made on a different jig, you may not actually get, like, measuring the thread it stick out is only part of it. Like, we're going to have to also measure point to point as well, because there's no guarantee that this and that are exactly the same length to the millimeter. Yeah, they're close enough that I wouldn't worry. 7 millimeters. That's pretty good. Here's somewhere about there. One full rotation of this eye is 1 millimeter. Like, if we want to add 1 millimeter of re-steer, you just turn the front rod end one way, like you make one side 1 mil longer there, which is one rotation. I think we're close enough that I can put bolts through it and sit it on top at least. That'll tell me how screwed we are.
So
not bad.
That's perfect.
But I'm not going to tighten any of these locking nuts until it's in the car.
Yeah.
Because I want them to be set up with no preload on it, especially these back ones, because there's no rod end or heim joint in it. These are literally solid mounted. So I'm just going to put that straight in the car. But the one annoying thing is trying to get these on in the car is an absolute mission. Mm-hmm. So I think what we'll do is we'll actually tighten the front one, then we'll drop it down, put these on, then put it back in. If you look closely, you'll see that I actually modified these ones previously, because this actually hit the body if you want to use the top holes. So if we need to use the top holes again, I'll have to do the same modification, but oh, actually they're different now. Huh, they've changed the design.
Okay, so
Yeah,
hold
so
on.
see, this has actually got more gusset here.
Yep.
Oh no, Paulie did that, that's right. He obviously didn't like the design of it. Should have put a gusset up there. I'm going to say it, these things have been through a lot of work. Like, if I've got to replace these once every 5 years, like, there's definitely going to be some consumables in this car at some point, you know? Like, you've got to look at it that way.
Where do you see yourself with this car in 5 years?
I don't know. That's a very hard question to answer, because
Yeah.
it's never going to run a 6. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yep.
Don't expect a 6-second Cresta t-shirt. It's not going to happen.
So I can safely buy the 7-second one.
The 7-second one will be the last time-themed Cresta shirt. I can't say it will be the last shirt, but it will be the last time-themed shirt.
Keen for it.
You're keen for it. I feel like this is my life.
What do you mean?
Trying to run a 7, it's just eluded me.
Right.
You have no idea how pumped I was to go to Jambo, because in my head it was in the bag. But
Man.
the amount of times it's been in the bag and then it's not been in the bag at all.
I was going to Jambo with the same mindset. Not that I told you about it, because I feel like that would have been bad juju or something. But yeah, I was like, this is it. And instead, broken car and broken ear.
Broken ear sounds like a football name. Ah, the broken ears.
You got to make sure you pronounce that word correctly, ear, because it can. If you say it quickly, it can sound like R-E-A-R.
Ah, broken rear.
Yeah.
That's actually the same threads per inch count,
Oh right.
but it's a much larger bolt, so the clamping load of a finer thread is more than a coarse thread, because you've got more threads engaged.
Yeah. So would that mean that
Science
it has
words.
a larger surface area
Yes, exactly.
connected to?
Yes, exactly that. I feel like this is going longer than I was anticipating. It's not end of the world, but yeah.
You can't rush art, as they say.
Jesus. Righto, Picasso. So I'm going to use the nuts, but not the bolts, because the bolts that I've got in the car are high grade. Probably not an issue, but I've got them, so I'm going to use them. I'm going to keep the nuts still, because they're still useful. Yes, the Nylox had threads through them, but if I'm looking for a nut sometime.
Yeah, if it gets you out of a
If it gets us out of a squeeze, yeah, literally. As the great Ben Paganoni would say, better to be looking at it than looking for it. Nailed it. Then we can see if anything comes loose.
Seems like you've done this before.
You think so? Quiet on set.
Yeah, now I'm confused, but that's fine.
No, because we've got to drop the diff so we can put the don't die clamps on. These horseshoe type deals are actually a safety requirement when you're using Heim joints like this on a ladder bar setup. I don't know if you need them for a fall link as well, but I know you definitely need them in a ladder bar. So this horseshoe actually stops the rear control arm or the ladder bar tearing out of the car if the Heim joint fails. So it'll get caught. Where's the bolt? Yeah, if this Heim joint fails and this rod end just blows out, it catches that. I mean, you're not going to drive on it, but you're also probably less likely to spear into a wall because of that. So, yeah, it's a bit of a safety feature, and anything that stops me running into a wall, in my opinion, is a good thing. So make sure you actually fit them because they are useful and they're actually required. There is a thing, part of the tech inspection, where they check for things like this. So make sure that you put it in. It comes as part of the kit and it's easy to fit, so why not add it for the factor of not crashing. But fit them after you tighten your rod end, because otherwise you can't tighten the jam nut properly. And put the bolts in the same way so it keeps your OCD happy. It probably makes more sense now that these are installed how they work. So zero tension on these bolts now, so they both go in by hand without forcing anything, whereas before this one was half a hole up. But there's every chance that because the bars weren't symmetrical, we should actually lay them on top of each other and look how far the geometry is out on those ones too.
Yeah, it'd be worth having a look.
Yeah, let's have a look right now. ADHD brain, let's do 7 things at once.
Start a million tasks now.
Yep. So this will be the tell as to how, yeah, wow.
What do you see that I currently can't?
Half a hole.
Okay.
Now that may be that the geometry is different anyway to get the diff square in the car. So there's like, all we've done is made the arms square. So it needs to go for a wheel alignment now to actually square the diff in the car. But I'll be very interested to see what this looks like. Because this cross member that's in the car, although it's welded in as accurately as possible, it may be a few millimeters out this way. Like there could be some variation in it. So that squaring these arms up isn't a true tell of what is actually going to make the car go straight. So we need to, after this is all back together, it needs a wheel alignment. Sorry, Wayne. And yeah, then we'll get some true information as to how square the car is at that point. Wayne's going to love doing the wheel alignment on this thing.
Is it a difficult job?
Yeah, because there's going to be lots of jacking up and measuring and moving.
Right.
And Lucky's good at it. Tell you what, that little gun's got some punch, hey?
Yeah, it seems pretty good.
Like, I'm not really... There's not
Yeah, it's
a
pretty
whole
tight.
lot left in that.
I'm just having a flashback from the Jambo episode.
Yes.
So that's the
Laser ride height sensor.
And that's how it measures the actual ride height, is by looking directly at the ground.
Yeah, so there's actually, when the ignition's on, you actually see a little red laser on the ground and it bounces it back up. It's like a LiDAR
Oh, that's cool.
type of deal.
Yeah, right.
So it thinks it's a cop car. It's annoying because I've got to turn this bolt around, so then they're not going to be the same left to right. So now my OCD is like,
Oh no. You'll be driving along just thinking about that.
why would you even say that? That's good.
Good, because that's the maximum droop that it could go, or that's...
Yeah, well, that's maxed out.
Yeah.
So now I've got to work out where the bracket needs to go. 60. Oh, my head. 90 mil. Because the problem is that this hole is 13 mil, and that's only 20 mil, so we've only got 3.5 mil of wall thickness either way, or
Yes, you're right.
bar thickness. Can you say fixture table?
Thank you.
For what?
You fixed my table.
Get out. See ya. This folded section actually engages with the bottom of this, and it's going to tighten up nice and stop it flexing around, because I didn't want it to actually walk and give us an incorrect reading. Yeah, that'll work mint, because then that's going to lock on there. Means I can still get to the shock adjustment. And it means Matty gets the data that he needs. And everybody wins. I do have old wiring in the car, but I think we're going to replace basically that wire front to back, because Dave wasn't stoked with it before. And we do need to change that anyway, because the wire length on this sensor compared to the original sensor I had is actually a lot shorter on this sensor. So we need to kind of join the dots anyway. But we've got the bracket in. I've got one of the original Haltech nuts on the top. So this one had to be custom. Predominantly most of the shocks are mounted where the bolt goes the same way, the top and the bottom. But on the Cresta, because we've got limited room, the top bolt actually goes the other way. So we can't just run the eyelet style mounts top and bottom on these. So made up this little bracket and it's done the job. It's also locating on this bottom arm here. So should work pretty well. It's not going to move anyway. So fingers crossed it does the job and it doesn't touch the shock anymore. So that's good. The other thing is too, making sure you've got clearance for things like your shock adjusters. Because if you've got to play around with this sort of setup, this one I know where it's going to go. So I can just give it these ones whenever I want. But yeah, it works out pretty good. And then this one's just swinging in the wind, because you don't actually really need a shock travel sensor on both sides, especially in something like a ladder bar car where it's realistically working together. Some of the 4-link cars, especially the older stuff without anti-roll bar or with a traditional style sway bar, which is going to have a lot more flex in it, you may want to run 2 different shock travel sensors. But if you're at the point where you've got shock travel sensors, you've probably got your rear end sorted enough that you don't need one on each side anyway. So something to think about. You can also run these on the front instead of a laser ride height sensor, but obviously you're only going to get the shock travel. So once you get to that full extension, you've got no way of measuring if the car's still basically doing a wheelie at this point. So yeah, the laser ride height sensor's actually been pretty invaluable throughout the last little thing playing around. Oh, that's what I did. Fail. I put the bar at the bottom holes again.
Oh,
We're gonna have to fix that, because I was about to say, because we had the bar in the bottom hole, but I've realised we've actually put it back in the bottom hole again. So gonna have to fix that before we forget. I think I've got both of them on. Come on. Yep. Nice. Doing this 25 times is going to be the shit fun.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
That's probably the first time I've actually gotten a good shot of what you're actually doing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm quite happy with that.
Oh, well, it's cracked.
So they're washers, so they're not even on, like, they're not even secured on.
No, well, this holds them on, the nut.
Yeah, but currently they're just hanging in the breeze.
Yeah, they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
So you've got to get the washer on, then the nut. 2 for 2.
New brake disc.
Yeah, only one, because they're too expensive. Someone's going to jump in the comments going, you should replace them as pairs, which I do agree with, but for $1,000 for rear rotors, I think I'll be fine.
Should you expand on what you're thinking to upgrade to?
No, not yet.
Yeah, okay. How about now?
No.
That's crazy.
But it's hardly worn though, like the disc
No,
itself.
I just mean the placement here is like on the brink.
Edge. But literally that's the only crack in it.
Yeah, actually that's, that got you.
Oh, me biffets.
Oh man. I feel bad for laughing, but you said that you'd laugh
you
if
really
I fell
though?
over.
I don't feel like you actually do feel bad.
Well, I don't, because
really
I
can't-
remembered what you
I
said
really
this
can't
morning.
tell.
Trip right over it, walking backwards.
I'll definitely laugh. I said I'd laugh. I didn't say what tone it would be.
Righto. All right.
I'm not like,
All right, Mr. Politician.
nay.
Is there a particular reason you're using that particular weight option or anything
It's just
like
what
that?
Frank said to put in it. I think we were using 85 140 before anyway.
Yep.
And then he just said to use this anyway, so.
Is that going to be enough, that bottle?
Yeah, 4 litres should be plenty for a 9-inch, I would have thought. Find out soon though.
This new toy looks serious.
Pretty wild bit of gear. It's like that thing that I built that exploded but not explodey.
Oh, that's good. So,
It's a feature I like in a oil siphoning system is non-explosion. I feel like of all the features you could have in it, that's pretty high up. It does struggle a little bit with 85 140, but man, it's just literally thick stuff, so
yeah.
just is what it is, you know. Pretty good, eh?
Do you need a hand?
Yeah, just hold this end for us.
Smutch in the eyes.
So we've got the car together. I did notice a lot of comments about another car that broke in the US, Steve Morris's Sugar Mama car, that they basically had exactly the same failure and it ruined the box. I spoke to one of my guys and he's pretty adamant we're not going to have a drum with it. It may be down to the way that box is built. Maybe it's a clean neutral box or something else different. But in our particular case, Pete is pretty confident that we don't have a drama, but he did say to just spin it up on the hoist, just run it through the gears and make sure it's not making any weird noises or doing anything like that. So yeah, we'll give it a bash, and as long as it spins up, I think we'll be pretty well right. I do need to somehow do 500 miles or 800 kilometers in this thing before I race it again, apparently. So yeah, it's going to see plenty of running up and down the road for a few weeks to come, I think. So yeah, I need to bed those diff gears in, and yeah, fingers crossed there's no other dramas, but we'll chuck it up in the air and give it a spin up. Then we'll show you guys the carnage of the other centre, and then we'll pack up and go home, because I feel like this day has dragged on quite a lot, even though the tasks are pretty small. Even my internets are telling me to go home. So we'll spin it up and see what happens. Clip her up. I do like it with the street exhaust. Well, the speedo's working, so that's good. I don't think it's right though. I think we're good. There's something fucked with the speedo though. No, I think it's probably just an air gap thing. I literally just sighted it in, so I might ring Maddie and go, what air gap do you want? This is our rear diff housing. It's actually quite light. I was surprised how light it was when I got given this as a piece. But unfortunately the bore inside here, which the rear of the pinion and the pinion bearing locate in, that's just way oversized. That's bashed to pieces. It's way out of tolerance. It may be repairable, but Frank was not really confident in reusing it. He said that you'd probably get away with it if you could repair it and use it in like a 500 horsepower street car. But he said the level this car is at, he probably doesn't recommend to try and recover and repair this for the cost of this housing. Like, this is probably actually one of the cheaper parts of the diff assembly anyway. So for the $400 or $500 saving, whatever this thing costs, yeah, he definitely recommended to just basically park it up. I think I'm actually going to give it to a mate of mine, because I reckon he can probably resurrect it and use it as a street car housing for one of his setups, and I think he'd be able to put it to good use. So rather than just throw the thing in the bin, I'll try and pass it down the line and get someone else to use it. Been a bit of an up and down episode as usual. Sometimes you find more things, and then we've got a few little rear end geometry things to take care of on the Cresta. So yeah, I think I'll probably just come in and sort that out tomorrow rather than film it and bore you guys even longer, because I reckon we're probably at about 5 hours now at this point. So yeah, exciting times, but we will get the Cresta out sooner or later. I've got a few date clashes with different events for other stuff I was already committed to, non-racing stuff. So yeah, really trying to find a date. I actually just want to get to a test day, to be honest, just to get the car on the track. So if you guys know of a private test day at Sydney Dragway, by all means, get in my DMs, because I'm keen to get into it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Are they heavy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can we change sides?
Forearm burn.
Sorry, can you walk to me? Please. Oh, that's too
I'm
far.
gonna be in the sunlight.
That's too far. I didn't think of that. That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's bussin'.
You're going to be on a bus if you keep talking like that. I'm going to revoke your driving license because you're like 12.